Gemstone 27 presents Super Mario World Romhack Races Seaside, leveled by gemstones. There's a large number of gemstones. Opener message. Wait, no, please don't leave. That was silly. Oh, that's a nice little world map. The part of the world we wish we could have seen. Okay. So far, I understand. Oh, aha, you almost got me, but not today. Okay, well, I got me. But yeah, I was, what? I thought I sponge jumped. Huh, oh well. Well, that one I know why I failed. I like the fancy new retry patch with the retry doing its thing. Just grooving, having a good time. I need to stop doing that. You mean to ask how do I get Miku to read stuff off? With a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So I have a legit copy of, I want to say, Miku 2? Which is like a Windows XP piece of software. What is up with that? I swear I sponge jumped. There's an awful lot of plumbing that goes between here and there. But the long story short is, it uses a 32-bit plugin. Am I doing it wrong? Is there some sort of secret here with this Spiny? Oh, maybe I'm getting caught by the dolphin and not noticing. But basically, that's another thing. It's 32-bit only software, so in the future, it's probably not going to work. But there was a weird piece of Japanese software that would turn Miku 2 into a Windows voice source. I don't remember where I got this, by the way. It was years ago, and designed for, like... Yeah, I just am getting caught by the dolphin. I just don't notice. But basically, the answer is what you probably should do is look for a more modern Vocaloid solution if you really do want to do, like, a Miku Speak thing. That's also completely ignoring the transliteration aspect, which is a pain in the butt, too. Because Miku 2 only speaks Japanese. She does not speak English. I don't know if later versions of Miku have, like, a way to do English stuff. I suspect the answer is yes, but I don't know the actual answer. I love on my first try through here, I managed to get really far in the level, and now I can't get past the first obstacle. There we go. Yeah, it was kind of cool to put it all together. It took a lot of effort. The transliteration stuff especially, because that's actually a whole separate thing that exists in my network of stuff. It's a Java applet that runs off of the Raspberry Pi in the corner that largely just serves as a gateway for, like, SSH stuff. WireGuard 2, which is also weird. I ran into some weirdness with that. Apparently YouTube has flagged my IP address as a bot farm, which is unpleasant to say the least. But I don't know what I was doing there. If I run my laptop through my own VPN, which connects to the same IP address, it suddenly is happy. Which makes me think it might be... I bet if I reset my router, it'll just work. Oh, that's how you fail that. You know what? Actually, I think that answers the question. My bet is that when I run it through my VPN thing, it brings me down to my IPv4 instead of IPv6. So if I just switch IPv6 addresses, which will happen next time I reboot the router, because there's way too many IPv6 addresses, it'll probably fix the problem. Whatever. Anyway, the transliteration thing runs on a Raspberry Pi. It's a small Java applet, because the application I found to do this, which was tied into a different form of Miku speaking, was written in Java. And so I took that. It occurs to me that Dolphin's completely superfluous, and I could have just made my life easier by ignoring it. Louis beat this whole level in 2 minutes. Of course, comparing, like, times when you're playing Romhack races in retrospect, I don't think is exactly reasonable. Because, like, if you're racing, you're not talking. Or at least you're not talking outside of, like, occasional swearing. Like, I'm not trying to monologue about tech stuff whenever I've done Romhack races in the past. Or read chat. Though I do end up reading chat, but in a much lesser capacity. What's up, Jesus Juice? How you doing? Anyway, long story short, really, is if you want Miku to speak, there are better options out there. D to the fourth wants to ask me that question. I basically told her the entire thing, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna find a better solution. I believe she did. But I don't know what that one was. You're good? Excellent. Ugh. Other topic, in case y'all end up hearing some nasally noises, is I got sick on Monday. And I'm getting there. I'm like 60% today. Like, every day I feel like I'm getting better. And then, like, late night rolls around, I'm trying to sleep. And then, bam, I cannot sleep because I'm coughing too much. Okay, well, this is salvageable. I hope I don't need that. That was not the play. Currently pet sitting? Oh, nice. Hopefully fun pets. Not like a fish or something. I don't know, I guess a fish would be fine too. Just like, I feel like pet sitting for a fish would be just kind of lame comparatively. Like, the fun thing about pet sitting is you get to borrow someone else's pets, and then you get to give them back, hopefully before you have to do annoying things like clean out litter boxes. Or whatever it is. 3 cats and 2 dogs. That is a lot of pet sitting. Hot damn. Cats and dogs living together. Real end of days stuff. This is a weird obstacle. I don't think I've ever run into this. Curiosity looked into Miku. Seems like most current version costs around 120 bucks. That seems right. I wonder what I paid for it. Let's see. I found my order ID. I did buy from a third party. It was shipped from Japan. According to this, it cost me $120 dues. And I got it in 2020. Which means I actually started that idea way back. Wish you had 120 bucks for Hatsune Miku. I'm not gonna say that you couldn't acquire Miku in a different way. So the date on that's actually relatively interesting to me. Because I did my first version of Miku Speak integration April Fool's Day 2021 using a pirated version. I basically thought that, if I want to make this a permanent fixture, I should have a legitimate copy and not have to run everything in a VM. Knowing what I know now, the VM solution probably would have been fine. I changed how a lot of stuff worked between here and there. But with that preliminary design, it would not have gone well. Basic problem, playing sounds in VMs on Windows using their VM hosting really sucks. Basically, it's using RDP, and usually RDP can do okay, but somehow it's gotten worse over the years. Which surprises me that it uses RDP, because, well, it's there, it's easy, but, like, there used to be other ways of doing that, which, again, seemed like they were better. But anyway. What's up, Seg? How you doing? Any idea when BDSM Central's coming out? Can't speak to BDSM, but SM Central is back up. Came up, like, yesterday, I think. Was actually really annoyed about the outage because I had a hack to reject. And it was sitting, just like the notes of that were sitting on my computer for like a week waiting for that. Oh, a little bit bad. Oh yeah, resubmitted it. Removed a whole level, which I feel a little bit bad about because I do think that like only one of the obstacles could have really caught people in a soft lock, but I'm going to trust OEL on this one. Since OEO just knows more about the sort of vanilla stuff he was doing than I do. Did fix a couple other really important things. Like one thing, there was basically a thing that ruined the gimmick of the level. Alright. Now watch this fish. Didn't watch it close enough. Only woke up early enough to catch a stream. Ah, well, nice. It's been a little bit since the hack rooms. Yeah, it's nice it's back up, but unfortunately they're like on maximum Cloudflare awareness, and have a bunch of scripts that haven't run in like a week. And the website that goes and checks for new interesting hacks, oh, that was a Mars bar, has been broken. I don't know if the Cloudflare stuff is also going to apply to the API endpoint, but I'm probably going to suggest to the dude who's doing that logging stuff that you should switch over to the API, because his code has been broken since ampersand CSS, well, changes on resource files took place, which also broke a bunch of my code, to which I was like, it's just time. Time to finally admit we don't need to parse everything using regexes. We could use the modern API that exists and has existed for 3 years. smc.world, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure his stuff's down. Probably should message him and suggest using the API, because it is publicly available, just not widely talked about for some reason. And it is eminently less annoying to use than scraping SMW Central's old, crufty, PHP-generated HTML that's full of tables. So full of tables. What? Huh. Maybe that requires very specific timing that I'm not aware of yet. But yeah, I switched over for my stuff to use that, and it has been wonderful because, again, JSON endpoints are much more convenient than parsing crap. So I managed to mostly reproduce the data that I've been given, so that I have all my stuff's backwards compatible and nothing's broken. Also, conveniently, because Google thinks I'm some sort of bot with my IP address, they haven't done anything bad to, as far as I can tell, mess with my permissions to use the YouTube API, which is, I think, what I care about a whole lot more than having to log in to watch YouTube. Okay, I need to do a shell jump. Hmm. 1 to 3 frames. Okay, I see. This is just none of those. It's clearly an obstacle. Sad PB indeed. Was using what I know about buoyancy, and I'm fairly certain that if you have a lower jump, you end up with less push down, if that makes sense. I suspect that's what the intended use of that little pool right here is to... I have no idea what the intended use of that little pool right there is. Maybe it's just cute. Actually, no, of course it wouldn't work, because we already know the one tile water doesn't let you swim, because we're doing it right here. Used to think that, but that's wrong. Inherent downside to the platform? Interesting. I do know that when it comes to those platforms doing their thing, it does change behavior depending upon your power-up state. I'm fairly certain that I read the assembly describing this at some point. I.e., a fatter Mario will make it drop more. Or a thicker Peach, as the case may be. I feel like I've gone through like 4 different topics and still haven't actually arrived at any destinations. In terms of the topics, not the actual what we're trying to do here. Clearly we haven't arrived at any destination here. Thankfully no final destinations. Those movies kind of suck. I always thought the, what was it? There was a really dumb Flash animation from a million years ago, right around when Brawl came out, which basically was someone voice-overing a bunch of these no items, Fox only, Final Destination video comics. is there were a lot of them. And one was like, looking for a movie, no plot, no character development, violence only, and then, you know, the two stick figures are doing funny faces at a Final Destination box art. This time was different. This time was very different. This time was incredibly different. Yeah, it could be fun to explore in Kaizo. Kaizo people are built different. Right. Thinking about this dolphin. What's sad is that I'd pressed no other buttons other than right. I would have just made it and it would have been fine. Yeah, I don't want to spawn the dolphin too early. I think actually you jump right out of the H. Oh, maybe the dolphin's already spawned. You do need to regrab on that final one, though, depending upon the speed at which you do this thing. Anyway, other news. I'm still working through my wire mess. I want to get the squiggle box up and running again soonish. In fact, I briefly considered, despite being sick, I might want to try that. What am I looking at here? I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wanted something somewhat easy. This seemed to fit the bill. Boop. Why'd I do that? But there are Windows 98 things I'd like to play in the near future. It being almost time for the horror game period of streaming. This time I don't think I'm going to bother trying to get people to vote. I think I'm just going to play Shivers. And maybe Eternal Darkness. I haven't decided yet. I don't like that obstacle. But the wire mess is substantially improved. Like, I went and plugged in the Super Nintendo because I'd unplugged for a little bit. I'm not sure why now that I think about it. So I did a Super Nintendo stream on last Thursday, I'm pretty sure. So I mostly was reducing the wire mess because I had a person coming over for a whiskey taste, and he was bringing the whiskey, so I figured I should at least do the bare minimum and actually clean. And I did. I got the place pretty decently clean for him. Sent him a note about, bizarrely enough, he was discussing sherry. The, you know, wine. Kind of wine product. Which, gonna be honest, generally not a huge fan of, and the rest of the world kind of stopped being a huge fan of. Founding Fathers were big fans. The Brits at the time were big fans, but subsequently sherry has lost much of its luster. Except as its use, and occasionally you'll find like a mixed drink that uses a little bit of sherry or something. There are recipes that require cooking sherry, but mostly I think they basically put the sherry, they make the sherry, put the sherry in casks and send it to Scotland, whereupon they pour it all out. And then age whiskey in the barrel. So, it's kind of weird that way. But anyway, you mentioned liking sherry when cooking, and I was discussing cooking recipes. And I remember talked about making a specific macaroni recipe. Oh, hey, that same level. That didn't have any milk in it. Macaroni and cheese, no milk, just cheese. And cooking sherry and egg yolks. And it was very rich. It also made me fart so bad I didn't want to be in the same room with myself. So, there's that. Good thoughts when we're finishing level, eh? But I wrote him a note with the recipe. He wrote me back a lovely thank you for hosting, so it was all good. Anyway, that level was fun. That was kind of what I was expecting, not terribly long. I was a little bit weirded out. I still don't know if I like the death block tidal floating platform thing, but it's definitely an interesting setup. Definitely interesting setup.